you'll be surprised what people think of you. Sometimes maybe people, they think what they think, but that's their problem, because there is more value what you gain from sharing your story and the liberation that comes with that, and more than that, the confidence when you are able to be who you are in front of anyone using your voice. So the reward and the confidence that comes from that is big.
Welcome to the Immigrant Experience in America, an immigrant human library, where we amplify and humanize the experiences of immigrants in the United States and around the world. Listen in as we add another story to our immigrant human library.
Culture is something that is in our subconscious, in our unconscious mind. We have all these rules and behaviors, and we evaluate everyone in front of us with that in mind. And that's when, we can understand or accept other people because of the subconscious rules that we have from where we grow up, how we grow up. And that's something that we if we know that how that works, we can create that awareness, and be more open when we are in front of someone. There is always going to come that unconscious rules and codes that we have, and be more open that people is different, and it's fine. It's not rude. It's just the way the culture is. And if we know that, we can, be more accept other people, and live a more harmonious, live in a more harmonious world, I guess.
Yes, I came across some of the research that talks about, you know, something that seems on the outside just very simple. You'll find some people who are very strong in their belief that the way they do things in their back home or in their former culture or country is the right way. We cook a certain way, and our way is the right way. It's the better way. And we start getting into very problematic ways of thinking that the way that we do things and or express ourselves is the way to do it, or the better way to do it. And so the research even calls that ethnocentrism, and some of the research shows that that might be some of the roots of where racial tensions and racism comes up, is when people start staunchly believing that the way that they see the world or the way that they do things or express themselves is superior or better than the way others do it. And so it's important for us coming in to remain open, because no matter where we go around the world, if we leave the US, if people who are Americans, US citizens, leave and go to Colombia, a Spanish-speaking place, or go to South Africa, they're going to be placed and experience things that we have experienced coming from a different place. And so you're going to be different in some other place around the world. And so, we're all different in so many ways, but we have so many things that should pull us together. And I think we just have to be careful how and just to be cautious in just remaining open to seeing the differences from other cultures as just that, differences. And they've never experienced the US, so they're not going to think like the way you think or do things the way you do. It's just how they do things from where they're from. And not necessarily attribute superiority or inferiority to those things. But it's all depending on perspective. And so I think those of us coming in need to educate ourselves as to not to take on other people's biases, is one of my guests expressed it, because we feel so different. For example, in the US, we can start feeling like we're inferior to somebody, to the dominant culture or somebody else's culture that is different from ours. And so it's important to practice self-awareness and encouraging ourselves to really hold valid that what we bring to the table and the way we see the world is valid just as someone else's, right? And so not to diminish or shrink ourselves when we come into the company of other people from other places. That is such good information that you're sharing there about your own personal journey on muting yourself, learning to communicate, to speak up, to ask for help in the workplace, and how long it took you to actually get into the boldness of being able to do that, and how life-changing it was when you finally did, and how fast you were able to move and change roles and to get into other things when you asked for help. So that's a good nugget there for those who are listening, who might be experiencing similar things that like you did.
Yeah, it's definitely, and also get used to be uncomfortable, right? It's not easy when to be exposed and to make mistakes in front of people. But once it's not you're not gonna die. You can be uncomfortable and apologize, but I think those moments are moments that you grow, that it help you for your voice to be strong and to really use it, and it's that many people struggle in this country to go to networking events, to you know do what they need to do. I for Like, I was struggling with ADHD too. And that took me, like, I didn't even know until my son was diagnosed, and I didn't talk about that. And when I knew that's, something that I had in me, it just makes sense. So much struggle that I have during my childhood, even in college. It was a struggle. I was always a responsible person, but I struggle to be able to perform, because when somebody faces struggles with ADHD, is hard to really keep focus and finish what they start. So it wasn't a struggle, but even that, I was able to always be responsible with my work, no matter how much hours I needed to complete it. Um, but when you learn to share this just become lighter for you, more normal, and you find the right tools that will help you to work through that challenge and systems. But when you don't know and you don't share, so other people don't know that you have that struggle.
Asking for help, so important to reach out, right? And not to stay silent, because someone might have the answer to your pain, might have the answer to your struggle, but it's just something. I don't know what it is about. I guess it's the fear of feeling like you're going to be judged, or because there is some truth in that once, sometimes if you open yourself to others, you might not be received or viewed. How do I say? It might not be received nicely or treated with the type of empathy like you expect. And sometimes people shy away because they're afraid that they may not get the right response. But, perhaps you might take some time and observe people around you and see who might be considered a safe person to do that privately. But the longer you stay silent and not ask for help, it actually could be detrimental to your career or your health, mental health, or whatever struggle or place that you find yourself in. But Sandra, this has been so rich of a conversation. I want to open the space for you to close out with anything that you'd like to share to people who might hear your story.
No, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak in this podcast. Like I said, I love the stories that people share. It's really helpful for, I have here the ones that I heard, and it was really Erica Warner, she's from Colombia. It's funny that when I went to look for, interviews, that was the first one, and I didn't even know she was from Colombia. And it was really empowering to listen to her, how beautiful her mission is, helping people. And then I listened to Nick Berg, from, I think was, he's from the US, but he has an interesting story from Iraq to, in military. He was, how he grew up, and his 3 books, and also Richard Hanson, that he the story of he actually finished writing his mom book, and the story of his mom was amazing. I mean, all those stories are in my head. And thank you for bringing all these people in your podcast and to share all those stories. The reason I say that is because, that's what happens when you use your voice, when you unmute yourself and you're not afraid to share without any shame about your upbringing, about your struggles, right? Like I said, I was, struggling with ADHD. My son was diagnosed, and it's a struggle at home with him. But you know what? If you don't share, you may not hear that somebody can help you or give you, advice on other moms that struggle with the same and can be doing things that, may work for you with your son. So all I mean is that unmuting yourself and really not feeling shame or sharing about overcoming challenges is what I always share in LinkedIn. We should share about, be open about overcoming challenges. There is no human that they're not facing challenges in different ways in this life. So unmuting yourself and sharing with vulnerability is not a weakness, and it's a superpower, because once you are able to be vulnerable, you may feel that, oh no, what did I share? My God, they may thinking this about me. But no, you'll be surprised what people think of you. Sometimes maybe people, they think what they think, but that's their problem, because there is more value what you gain from sharing your story and the liberation that comes with that. And more than that, the confidence when you are able to be who you are in front of anyone using your voice. So the reward and the confidence that comes from that is big. And that's what my message is. Try to start little by little using your voice. You're not going to start big and making a huge announcement, but you start little by little sharing parts of you that nobody knows, and that, yeah, you need to choose a safe environment, but eventually you're able to be yourself anywhere, in front of anyone, in any room, with pride and with really feeling that your story is the reason you are who you are, the strong person that you are, the smart person that you are, is because that story that you had to overcome. That's what I wanted to share.
Very good. Part of the journey, as I call it, coming home to yourself. That's what you did. You came home to Sandra and her passion and what moves her, what motivates her innately, like naturally, right? It took you a while to come home, but you did, and you've unmuted yourself. And now, can you imagine the number of people that your story is going to impact? People from Colombia, from the Latin American community, from other places who are learning English from their native, doing that transition from their native tongue to English. I wish you nothing but the very best, Sandra. Thank you for joining us here on the platform. You're welcome again anytime to share. Tell the people how they can find you online on the internet.
Yeah, they can find me really in LinkedIn. I am very active in LinkedIn. Anything that you need, you can reach me, DM me. Thriving Mindsets has a page in LinkedIn too. I'm still working in my website. And unmuting myself is in Amazon for anyone that has curiosity about the story. And yeah, these are the ways to reach out to me. Thank you, Simone, for the opportunity.
You are very welcome. So there you have it, folks. Sandra Booth, author of Unmuting Myself.
It was such a pleasure to spend this hour with you, Simone, and with the audience from this podcast. I'm really excited to see the outcome, and hopefully many people listen and can take some good takeaways from this conversation.
It was a pleasure, Sandra, having you here on the show. I enjoyed going on that journey with you from, growing up on that farm to coming to the US. All of us, there's similarities in our journey of some of the psychological experiences that we go through, which is
Oh
what
my
I
God, there is
focus
a
on.
lot. There is a
So much
lot. Going
similarities.
through your book, I many things that you share in the book, it resonate with me. I really enjoy going through your book. I have it here because I started to read it in the audiobook, and
Yes.
then I received the copy. By the way, it took long for them to send me the copy. Where did I put my book?
Oh, did you order it from Amazon?
Yeah, this book is great. I love all the research that you show in the book and the stories, the personal stories that you share. It's amazing. How long did it take you to put the book together?
It was about from when I started October to October, it was about 12 months. I was on this journey of trying to do it in a year. So it took me about 3 months to get everything out. I had like 80,000 words, and then I hired an editor and we worked on it for a few months and just went through iterations, and then we finally got it released in around, I think, after Thanksgiving, between Thanksgiving and Christmas last year. So yeah, and it's funny as an author, you look back and I'm like, oh, should I have held it and kind of cleaned it up a little bit more? But I'm glad it's out there. I'm very pleased with the stories. I read it so many times. I think maybe in a year or so, I'm going to sit down and read it again. Coming up here in November when I travel, November to December, I'm going to read it again and just kind of see what emotions comes up as I read it after putting it down for a few months.
I've been thinking the same too about my book. I've been going through the book, and when I was writing the book, the editor told me you should just write and leave the book alone, don't publish it and come back, because there is a lot of more that you will think about and remember and want to share. And I didn't really listen. I wait. It took me like 5 months, because I started last year and I published no more than 5 months. But really, I started at the end of the year and it was published in May. So it was like half year. But I think that the first book is I don't know if other people have said this, but the first book is always not as the best work that you do, as much as we want it to be the best work. And I've been thinking I should write my book in Spanish, right? Because it just will come everything there, and then I have another ideas to follow in this book, because I like writing. But if I write it in Spanish and then maybe have it translated to English, it will be richer, I think. And I think that was the mistake, that I just went ahead and tried to do it in English directly. I never did it in Spanish. So next writing, I think I'm going to try that.
That sounds like an excellent idea, Sandra. I think writing in your native tongue, things you're able to just express yourself as you want,
Yeah.
and then translate it in English. That's a great idea.
Yeah, it will take more time and really a good translation in English, or probably I will try to translate it myself once it's written in English just to do that translation. With many, there's a lot of help to do that today, and even working with someone just to really get everything that is in your mind, the things that I have experienced, the ideas I have. Sometimes it's really better to try do it in the native language so that you don't lose a lot of good things.
So true. So true. Yeah, looking forward to hearing about the next one. I think you're on to a very interesting line of work. I love to hear this learn more about this neurolinguistic programming, because even though I'm an English speaker, I grew up knowing Jamaican patois and then British English, and I tell you, it is a transition from that, and then growing up in a different culture. It's a very different transition coming into the American English and way of expressing things. It's so different. And then it will be interesting to learn, like, what are some of the similarities from with people speaking, who are like native Spanish speakers or French speakers or speakers of other languages coming into English for the first time, American English, I would say. It would be interesting to see what similarities there are there.
Yeah, it was interesting to me to know what you just said, because I have a client that she is from Jamaica and she started a business in yoga, but she's been struggling with starting her business, very afraid to really go full on that, and she works as a flight attendant for an airline. And she shared with me when we were doing the mental emotional release therapy that I do, hypnosis. She shared with me exactly that about the language. And I thought in my mind, if you are lucky if your native language, you are lucky if you come to this country and your native language is English, you struggle less. That was my thinking. You will just be fine, right? You will just learn the culture, the behaviors, but at least you have the language, right? That was what I thought. And then when I met her, she shared with me experiences as a child with her English here in this country, and I realized, wow, it's still a struggle. Even if you speak English, is just different in other ways they speak English. So yeah.
It's an interesting comment though, just to even dive into that conversation about the transition for other English speakers outside of the American way of speaking English, right? And the culture coming into like a individualistic culture from other types of cultures, such as the collectivist cultures, and how it impacts people. Interesting. Yeah, it was a transition for me.
It is a process. I mean, I have to be honest. I went through different hypnosis or breakthrough that we call them, to be able to speak with people, in LinkedIn, in audio rooms, and every time it was. I'm not gonna say easy. Even starting this podcast, still you feel that little, nervous, but you still do it. That's the difference. You still do it. And it just takes the first, seconds of that moment to get through that, and you're fine. That's what fear is. It's just, your nervous system's trying to protect you from a threat that doesn't exist. So with hypnosis, we learn to, to get through that, really face what we need to face. It depends on each person, what things you need to release. Many people, have emotions of shame. There are actually 5 negative emotions that stop people from doing what they need to do to be empowered or more confident. And it's shame, guilt, sadness, hurt, and anger. So those 5 emotions, when you release each one of them, you start changing a little bit more and feeling more, stop the doubting yourself and being more empowered when you need to, you need to do that in order to remove that from your unconscious mind. Because even you think that you're confident, if you don't remove those negative emotions from different events from your life, you have shame from a particular event in your life, create that shame that you carry with you, until you release it. You have carried that, or the anger, anger for some reason, events in your childhood, in your life, you carry that anger and it will be with you until you release it. So once you release that from the unconscious mind, you don't act like that anymore in the situations that that you need to show out powerful. You are truly confident, no fake confidence, right? That you still know you appear confident, but inside you are having the what's it called, the syndrome of feeling that you
imposter syndrome.
All those things, right? So it's just you releasing that from the unconscious mind. You get to that, and it's not it's not a process that it's a gradual process that you see the changes as you go through that, and you do it a couple of times. You get through, you start experience how much you change. One of the things that big change in myself was, I never thought I was able to leave corporate America as safe, let's say it was, for me was, even I wasn't happy, it was safe. I have my paycheck every 2 weeks. And I thought I couldn't live without that sense of safe. And there was a day it came that I said, no, I need to pursue, what I love to do. And the worst thing is, if I need to work in corporate America, I will do it, but I need to first find out that I can do this, and I'm gonna do it and keep working on that. So it's not easy, and the public speaking fear that it's my, the thing I want to help people, especially immigrants that come to the U.S., is because we, like we said, we have these feelings of being unworthy because of the backgrounds and the countries that we come from, the cultures that we come from. And that feeling of unworthiness is what doesn't let us really use our voice and speak with confidence. And there it comes the public speaking fear, right? The feeling inferior. So that's what I think my passion was born to help people to just be themselves and speak when they need to speak. It's not that we need to speak all the time. Some people is comfortable being quiet. When you are comfortable being quiet, it's great. But the problem is when you are not comfortable being quiet, but you still stay quiet and don't say what you need to say.
Yes, right. So the word unhindered keeps coming to mind as I hear you speak. Unhindered, like, getting rid of those 5 negative emotions that seem to prevent us from walking truly, authentically in who we are and what would we look like. But thank you so much, Sandra, for sharing your Saturday afternoon with me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
We thank our listeners around the world, and we appreciate your continued support as we build our human library. Please remember to give us a 5-star review, subscribe, and share with your friends, family, and circle of influence.